Now, I don't think there's many people doubting that the Memphis rapper had beef with young Dolph and even maybe had a hand in his death. But if you're one of those people, this video right here is for you. I've gone down a rabbit hole and found some dirt on Gotti's brother, Big Juke, his connections with the suspect who just got released on bond, and so much more. Take this video for example.
I said if I see them folk, because these folk had something to do with it, bro. These folk don't know that Juke put a hit out, bro. Don't know this shit.
Let's keep things short. In this video, I'm gonna tell you why Yo Gotti was probably behind the young Dolph shooting death. Young Dolph's death. It was sad news to share when young Dolph was killed on the 17th of November 2021 at the age of 36. The indie rap star was a cousin of the late Juice WRLD. Known by his real name, Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., Dolph was going about his day, grabbing some cookies at Makeda's Butter Cookies around 1 p.m. when two gunmen pulled up and fired shots through the window. Dolph had quite the following, with around 4.4 million Instagram followers. Growing up in Chicago and later raised by his grandmother in Memphis, Dolph learned early on how to stand on his own 2 feet. His parents struggled with addiction, and in a neighborhood plagued by violence and poverty, he chose the path of hustling as a means to make ends meet. His journey from those challenging times to becoming a successful rapper was nothing short of inspiring. He rapped about his life experiences and used his music to motivate others. Dolph's drive was fueled by a promise he made to his grandmother, to lift his parents out of the tough neighborhood they called home. Dolph's music journey began in his teenage years when he and his friends would freestyle together. In 2008, he started releasing mixtapes, building a reputation as a confident rapper with a fierce hunger for success. His music was more than just entertainment. It was a way to connect with his audience on a deeper level. He shared life lessons and wisdom through his lyrics, often offering guidance that some might expect from a father figure. As news of his tragic passing spread, tributes flooded in from across the music industry. Artists like Chance the Rapper and Megan Thee Stallion expressed their condolences. Through all the challenges and even brushes with death, Dolph remained resilient and determined. He didn't let fear dictate his life, even in the face of threats. He is survived by his son and daughter. After the loss of young Dolph, the community came together to honor him. He was laid to rest on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, at First Baptist Church Broad Street. With a security escort and support from the Memphis police, his family's procession of black SUVs made its way to the cemetery, located just across from Hamilton High School, where Dolph had studied. Fast forward to January 5th, 2022, and the police made a breakthrough. They identified one of the suspects involved in the murder, 23-year-old Justin Johnson. A first-degree murder warrant was issued for his arrest. In an effort to bring justice, Tennessee authorities offered a reward of up to $15,000 for any information leading to Johnson's whereabouts. Now, Johnson had a history that raised red flags, a history of criminal charges, violence, and connections to organized gangs. He was also a rapper who went by the name Straight Drop. Another suspect in the case was Cornelius Smith, age 32, who was not only arrested for car theft related to the incident, but also indicted on first-degree murder, weapons possession, and theft charges. On January 11th, Johnson was captured by law enforcement in Indiana. This came after an incredible response from the public, with over 500 tips leading to his arrest. 27-year-old Shundale Barnett, a passenger in the car Johnson was driving, was also taken into custody. The legal proceedings didn't come easy for Johnson and Smith. They struggled to find legal representation, and Judge Lee Coffey laid down an ultimatum. Either they hire a lawyer by February 4th, 2022, or the court would appoint a private attorney for them. This spurred some action, and on February 11th, both Johnson and Smith pleaded not guilty to the first-degree murder charges. As time went on, the legal journey continued. In November 2022, another individual named Hernandez Govan, age 43, was indicted as a third suspect in the murder of young Dolph. He's alleged to have ordered the hit. Due to the severity of the charges and the necessary legal procedures, the trial for these suspects might not happen until 2024 as the defendant's attorneys work through the discovery phase. Moving ahead to June 2023, Jamarcus Johnson made a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to accessory charges in exchange for dropping the conspiracy to murder charge. This plea deal also involves Johnson testifying against the other suspects during their trials, which are yet to come. The road to justice has always been a winding one, but as the law enforcement focused on their route to getting justice, the streets were anything but quiet. A person of interest in Dolph's case, Joshua Taylor, was killed in June 2023. The news broke after family members identified him as the victim of a fatal shooting in Memphis on a Wednesday afternoon. Taylor, who was also known as CEO Teasy, was flagged as a person of interest in the Dolph murder case back in February 2020. 2022. He was also wanted for various other charges, including theft of property and possession of a prohibited weapon. The incident took place inside a car, with Taylor found shot to death. It's worth noting that he was believed to have been connected with Justin Johnson, one of the individuals charged in Dolph's killing. While Taylor was never directly charged in the murder case, investigators were interested in understanding his connection to Johnson. They wanted to find out whether Taylor had any knowledge of Johnson's whereabouts on the day of Dolph's murder, or any insights into the incident. Speaking of Justin Johnson, news surfaced that he had an encounter in jail in March 2022. Apparently, Johnson was attacked by another inmate while he was making a phone call in the facility's visitation area. However, no injuries were reported as confirmed by the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. The situation was complex, but it didn't end there. There were still more losses to be recorded by those connected with Dolph's murder. Rapper Lotta Cash Desto, born Destiny Govan, was another victim. Hailing from the same city that claimed young Dolph, she was a rising star in the hip-hop scene. Affiliated with rapper Lil Uzi Vert, their bond was evident as he often referred to her as his sister or twin. Tragically, she was killed in Houston on September 24, 2022. A young man named Christian Williams was charged with her murder. Police initially suspected that the shooting might have been the result of a robbery or an argument on the road, but they have not yet identified the exact reason for the shooting. The shadows deepened with the revelation that Desto was the daughter of Hernandez Govan, who was indicted for young Dolph's murder. About a month after her passing, Govan took to Facebook, expressing remorse. "I think I cursed you, Destiny, with my lifestyle. I apologize, baby." In May 2023, it was reported that Hernandez Govan walked out of jail just hours after a judge had set his bond. After being indicted and pleading not guilty in November 2022, Govan was held without bond. Though Govan wasn't physically present in court, his new attorney, Manny Aurora, represented him before Judge Lee Coffey. Under the conditions set by Judge Coffey, Govan's bond stood at $90,000, and if posted, he would be put under house arrest. Exceptions included medical reasons and attorney meetings. The decision to grant Govan's bond had some people puzzled, but Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy explained that Dolph's family had approved of the move, citing reasons like Govan's medical condition and his role clarity. The defense and prosecution collaborated on the bond amount, offering 3 justifications: Govan's role understanding, his safety, and medical concerns. Govan's attorney, Manny Aurora, voiced his support for Govan's plea of not guilty. March 29, 2023, saw another episode of misfortune fall when someone alleged to have had a hand in Dolph's murder. At 11:17 p.m., the Memphis Police Department got a call. Chaos had erupted at Privé, a restaurant linked to rapper Yo Gotti. Responders arrived to see 2 men wounded by gunshots. Despite their efforts, one couldn't be saved, while the other passed away later at the hospital. Among the victims were 4 men and a woman, caught in the midst of it all. Initial investigations pointed to an altercation starting within the restaurant. There were around 40 bullets shot during the fight. Privé is co-owned by Memphis rapper Yo Gotti. His lawyer, Arthur Horn, conveyed the deep sorrow felt by Yo Gotti and his family. Horn dispelled claims that the altercation began indoors, asserting that it happened in the parking lot as the night wound down. It's not the first time Privé has faced such a dark fate. Following the shooting of Yo Gotti's rival, young Dolph, in 2021, the restaurant was closed. You see, many believe that Yo Gotti was connected to Dolph's murder, and with other alleged culprits facing their own misfortunes, an incident hurting Yo Gotti wasn't all that surrounding. This is the case as multiple people came forward on the internet with clues to prove that Yo Gotti's hands are dirty. Later on, more theories would emerge, this time linking Yo Gotti to young Dolph's murder. Snapshots emerged featuring Big Juk, Yo Gotti's brother, in the company of Hernandez Govan. Then came a video where Grove Hero said that Big Juk had put a $40,000 bounty on young Dolph.
If I told you, hey man, look bro, my Juk put a $40,000 hit on you, bro. Like, man, come on, bro.
Cue the social media posts with several people pouring their perspectives on the matter and painting vivid portraits of the long-standing feud between young Dolph and Yo Gotti. Hip-hop YouTuber Hood Educated explained that young Dolph's position boiled down to this: Yo Gotti was slyly taking jabs at him, not openly naming him but throwing shade. So Dolph decided he had enough of these veiled insults. He took the direct route, calling out Yo Gotti by name and letting loose a barrage of words, confronting him, even disrespecting his older brother Big Juk. Dolph's narrative depicted Gotti as parading Big Juk's physique, keeping everyone on edge. Dolph also boldly stated he'd been involved with the mother of Gotti's child. Footage also surfaced with young Dolph appearing to diss Big Juk. Then reports came in that Big Juk got questioned by the police and people were talking about it, but it's not really clear what happened. Still, on the internet, lots of folks were blaming Gotti, Juk, and CMG for stuff. Blogger Vada Fly's tweet summed up the sentiment with the tweet: Yo Gotti's brother being seen in a picture with the dude who got arrested for putting together Young Dolph's murder shows how much they hated him. It took a team to plot, plan, and strategize on how to take Flipper out. Them boys was sick. Dolph was blowing up. Yo Gotti and Young Dolph's sister, Robin Mims, went on social media to quell the accusations as mere rumors. Mims released her statement expressing her frustration about having to engage with social media. She cites an instance where social media caused problems for her family. During her mother's birthday weekend in Miami, people on social media caused distress by making threats against her family and spreading rumors. This led to negative consequences like a decrease in business at their restaurant. The King of Memphis debate. The urge for revenge against Yo Gotti was because Gotti wasn't a fan of Young Dolph's popularity and claimed to the title of King of Memphis. While Dolph was alive, his beef with Yo Gotti went on for a while. The beef boasted of several nasty events from both sides. The clash between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti came into view on February 11, 2016, when Dolph subtly fired a shot at his Memphis counterpart. Through a Twitter post, Dolph insinuated that Yo Gotti wasn't embracing his rising success. He tweeted, "Bra went from being my #1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater." The narrative continued on February 18, 2016, when Young Dolph announced that his debut album would be titled King of Memphis. This choice raised eyebrows, as fellow Memphis rapper Yo Gotti had frequently proclaimed himself as the King of Memphis. Dolph's album title was widely perceived as a dig at Gotti, even though Gotti refrained from any public response. The Memphis hip-hop scene and the larger rap community saw this as Dolph's bid to seize the throne. In February 2016, Young Dolph took to Hot 97's Ebro in the Morning Show to downplay the beef with Yo Gotti. He even acknowledged Gotti as one of his earliest supporters, stating that the tension was blown out of proportion. "It's really overstated," Dolph noted when asked about the rumored rivalry. Dolph also explained that the album title, King of Memphis, wasn't meant as a diss toward anyone. He clarified that it was a reflection of his crew's mentality, a collective of individuals with financial success, aligned values, and unity. This dispelled concerns about a brewing feud over the Memphis rap crown. The feud took a more aggressive turn on March 2, 2016, when Yo Gotti's CMG artist Black Youngstar posted a video on Instagram aimed at disparaging Dolph and challenging his claim of being the King of Memphis. In the video, Youngstar criticized Dolph's character and authenticity, denying his position as the city's king. The post's caption escalated matters further, with Black Youngstar threatening to hit Young Dolph. This intensified the feud, confirming that the tension between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti was not just hearsay, but a genuine feud playing out in the spotlight. Taking the feud to the streets, Black Youngstar intensified the situation on behalf of Yo Gotti by physically venturing into Young Dolph's territory in Memphis, accompanied by his crew.
I love Castain, but I don't f with Dolph. Dead, we'll f with Dolph.
Recording the event, Black Youngstar and his entourage navigated through the Castalia neighborhood in South Memphis, armed and ready for an encounter with Young Dolph. Although Dolph himself was not encountered, the video showed that the beef was not just about music anymore. As tensions rose, some speculated that Yo Gotti influenced his artist, Black Youngstar, to take matters into his own hands. However, Yo Gotti denied this claim. During an interview with Tim Westwood, Gotti sidestepped addressing the feud with Young Dolph, instead focusing on Black Youngstar's actions and threats aimed at Gotti's adversary. Gotti said he's like a mentor and friend. He'd give advice based on what he thinks is right, like a big brother or friend. He mentioned he does things differently and advised Black Youngstar and other young people to handle things in a better way. While Young Dolph had largely taken the high road in response to the conflicts with Yo Gotti and Black Youngstar, he shifted gears on March 16, 2016. Dolph seized his Instagram platform to deliver his response, posting a series of videos that held nothing back. He accused Gotti of resenting Memphis rap icons like 3 6 Mafia, 8 Ball, and MJG, and others. Dolph also accused Gotti of sending Black Youngstar as a proxy fighter, and even of involving law enforcement. Dolph followed up with an image featuring prominent figures from Memphis's rap history, emphasizing their significance as trailblazers. In tandem with this, he continued to criticize and belittle Yo Gotti, putting him on notice and formally challenging the Down in the DM rapper. The feud's intensity was undeniably escalating, and Dolph was making his stance loud and clear. Black Youngstar wasted no time in replying Dolph with the diss single Shake Some. With the release of Shake Some on March 17, 2016, one day following Dolph's remark, Black Youngstar attacked Young Dolph's ties to Memphis and his assertion that he was the city's undisputed ruler. Youngstar expressed his disdain for Dolph, claiming to be a leader in Memphis despite being from Chicago. Months after arguing with Young Dolph, Black Youngstar declared the feud to be over in an interview on September 9, 2016. Youngstar put a stop to the rivalry by revealing that Yo Gotti genuinely liked Young Dolph despite their conflict, but Dolph refused to accept that it was resolved resolved, leaving room for more conflict. Dolph dropped his diss track Play With Your which was directed at Yo Gotti. The budding star delivered a series of underhanded blows, along with scathing generalizations like, "I don't know no gangsters that beef with dykes," and references to having relationships with Gotti's child's mother. Dolph cast his adversary as a hater by rhyming, "You came up rapping dissing 3-6 Mafia." In the midst of the feud between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph, curiosity grew about Gotti's response to Dolph's fiery diss track, Play With Your. Taking the high road, Gotti subtly shrugged off the attack on social media, highlighting his connections to heavyweights like Jay-Z and L.A. Reid. This confident move was Gotti's only reaction, as he refrained from firing back. The tension escalated when Young Dolph unexpectedly dropped the diss track, despite Black Youngsta seemingly burying the hatchet. Dolph explained his decision on DJ Holiday's radio show, exposing Gotti's sneak disses in his recent mixtapes. Dolph's own album had been overshadowed by Gotti's work, igniting the flame. Yo Gotti's silence ended on February 11th, 2017, as he dropped Don't Beef With Me, a diss track of his own. Without naming Young Dolph directly, Gotti played the subliminal game, sounding more like a warning than an outright attack, with CMG artists Moneybagg Yo and Black Youngsta joining the fray. Undeterred, Young Dolph continued his onslaught with the Play With Yo music video, released on February 24, 2017. The video featured a lookalike of Yo Gotti, allowing Dolph to mock his adversary without holding back, showcasing his unrelenting determination. Soon, the beef left the studios and made its way outside when news broke about the shooting targeting Young Dolph in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was reported that there were over 100 rounds fired at his bulletproof SUV. Miraculously unharmed, Dolph defiantly took the stage that very night, performing his diss track aimed at Yo Gotti, sending a clear message that the incident wouldn't deter him. After engaging in a heated feud with Yo Gotti throughout February 2017, Dolph seemed to pivot away from the past, declaring the beef as old news in a March 7, 2017 interview. Hesitant to comment on the Charlotte shooting, it remained uncertain whether the Memphis rivals' conflict had truly subsided. Yet, at least temporarily, the battle appeared to have simmered down. But things got really surprising on September 26, 2017, when everyone found out that Dolph got shot in Hollywood. They didn't have many details, but they said it happened close to where Hollywood and Highland meet, and Dolph had to go to the hospital. Swiftly, Yo Gotti's name surfaced as a person of interest, accused by the LAPD after members of both artists' entourages allegedly engaged in a dispute at the Lowe's Hotel, escalating into gunfire that wounded Dolph. On September 27, 2017, the police first said Yo Gotti might be involved in the shooting, but then they changed their minds. They found out that Yo Gotti probably didn't have anything to do with it, showing that the story wasn't so clear after all. Then, an associate of Yo Gotti, Corey McClendon, was arrested for attempted murder in connection to the incident. He was held on a $1 million bail. The following day, Corey McClendon was released without charges, leaving investigators grappling with unanswered questions and the mystery of who was truly responsible for the attack on Young Dolph's life. The real reason for the beef. From words on interviews to diss tracks and literal shots fired, the beef between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti had everything. But why did it start in the first place? Young Dolph appeared on Sway in the Morning in 2014 to discuss his mixtape High Class Street Music 4, American Gangster, which was released the same year.
I've been doing this on my own since day one.
Day one.
You know what I'm saying? Since day one, like everybody, a lot of folks, a lot of people, everybody almost done came to me with different situations like, man, let me help you with this and do this and do that. But me in my position, like I got too much of my own money tied in this and too much of my own time in it. Like I got too much invested in it.
He talked openly about choosing to invest in himself over signing with Yo Gotti. Though Gotti never explicitly said it, Dolph suggested that Gotti's response to this was what started their beef. But one would think that getting a record deal would be the dream of every artist. Are there any hidden clauses in record label deals that made Young Dolph wary about signing a deal? Record labels like Atlantic and Columbia serve as the artistic homes for musicians, spanning genres from rock and hip-hop to K-pop and hyperpop. While being signed is a pivotal milestone, it's just the beginning of an intense journey. The reverence for labels is understandable. British producer Jake Gosling explained in a 2012 interview, highlighting their multifaceted roles: marketing, press, radio plugging, and more. Record labels assemble teams to manage everything, recognizing that artists might excel creatively but struggle with business aspects. Neil Young adds praise, emphasizing labels' role in artist presentation and nurturing. Labels serve as comprehensive support networks networks. Indie or major, they handle promotions, radio interviews, financial management, sales coordination, public relations, online presence, contracts, legal issues, and artistic direction. Crucially, they act as investment banks for artists, funding recordings, videos, and tours, then expecting returns through various revenue streams. Major labels prioritize artists with significant social media traction, aiming for attention, clicks, streams, and potential viral success. On the other hand, indie labels often focus on pioneering style and genre. The journey to label signing is a complex process. Artists and repertoire A&R reps are label gatekeepers, responsible for discovering potential talents. While once scouting nightclubs and talent shows, today's A&R teams sift through TikTok and Instagram, seeking the next viral sensation. Previously, legends like John Hammond at Columbia discovered icons like Aretha Franklin and Bob Dylan. Today, they depend hugely on social media. Getting signed is more than just recognition. It's entry into a network that nurtures, promotes, and invests in musicians' careers. For artists, it's an aspiration that combines talent, uniqueness, and often a dash of digital magic to catch the discerning eyes of these labels. This looks to be glittering a lot, right? Sadly, signing with labels is not always gold. Long ago, musicians and record labels shared a setup that allocated 85% of profits from singles or albums to the label, leaving the artist with a 15% cut. While this might appear imbalanced, it operated effectively. Moreover, artists retained control over earnings from tours, merchandise, and independent ventures. However, everything changed in 1999 when software developers crafted a streaming audio engine that gave birth to Rhapsody, the pioneering on-demand music subscription platform. Fast forward, and we're in the realm of Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. This caused a fall in album and CD sales, and record labels grappled with significant losses. To counteract this, they introduced album advances and recoupable payments. Labels know that artists need substantial investment to thrive, cutting-edge recording gear, producers, and advertising, all of which come at a cost. Labels aid artists in these expenditures under the belief that artists will generate lucrative return. Regrettably, this generous assistance has a catch. The funds provided are a recoupable payout, meaning artists must repay the label in full. This repayment often originates from the artist's 15% share of profits. With a huge load of label debt, artists often feel compelled to churn out albums relentlessly. While artists typically adhere to contractual obligations, the drive to recoup debt intensifies. The primary objective shifts from creative expression to earning money for the label. Major labels like Universal Music Group, Warner Music Group, and Sony BMG are embarking on a spree of artist signings, hoping to strike gold. As one artist rockets to fame, many others signed to the label are left grappling with financial burdens. This clarifies why labels aggressively push their top earners to offset loans and guarantee consistent income. Perhaps the fear of being indebted to a label motivated young Dolph to search for his fortunes elsewhere. Eventually, he would rise to become a formidable force in the Memphis rap scene. Let's take a look back and see how Dolph's success story came to be. Back in 2008, young Dolph burst onto the scene with his first mixtape, Paper Route Campaign. He wasn't content to just ride the wave, though. Driven by his money-minded mindset, he birthed Paper Route Empire in 2010. Dolph's other mixtapes like Welcome to Dolph World, A Time to Kill, and the High Class Street Music series gave the label wings, propelling it to prominence. From that point on, the Paper Route Empire squad started growing. They added talents like Jotty Bad from Brooklyn and Memphis stars such as Snoop Bands, Paper Route Woo, and Big Moochie Grape. During this period, Dolph turned down several major record labels, even a jaw-dropping $22 million offer. Memphis born and bred, young Dolph was heavily influenced by rap legends 8 Ball and MJG. These pioneers played a pivotal role in putting Memphis on the hip-hop map in the 90s. Dolph wasn't just a fan, he delved deep into their style, recording in the very same Memphis studio where 8 Ball and MJG had teamed up with producer DJ Squeaky back in the day. In 2012, fate smiled upon Dolph, leading him to collaborate with the duo on his mixtape track While I'm Rolling Up. It marked a personal milestone on his climb to the top. As Dolph's career soared, he caught the eye of fellow artists, and none other than Gucci Mane himself. Gucci took the budding star under his wing during Dolph's early days as a CEO and independent artist. Their collaboration began with East Atlanta Memphis in 2013, Dolph's first project working side by side with Guwap. Their artistic chemistry flourished over the years, giving birth to hits like That's How I Feel, Bling Ball Burr. Back in 2014, young Dolph unveiled Cross Country Trappin', introducing the world to the standout track Preach. The song's lyrics were loved by the audience, propelling Dolph into the limelight. Preach proved its longevity, solidifying its place as one of Dolph's signature hits and a homage to his remarkable talents that continue to resonate today. Young Dolph teamed up with OT Genesis for the 2015 banger Cut It. Seriously, this track was everywhere, blasting on the radio, popping up on playlists, and setting clubs on fire. Dolph's impact in 2016 was undeniable. The jam not only rocked the charts, reaching number 35 on the Billboard 200, but it also snagged double platinum status from the RIAA within a year. Talk about making a splash. In 2016, Young Dolph decided to level up from being a mixtape legend to a bona fide studio album artist. He dropped his debut album, King of Memphis. It was this title that sparked the beef with Yo Gotti and his CMG crew. Drama aside, this move also marked Dolph's solo entry onto the Billboard 200. The album featured the hit Get Paid and basically shouted, "Hey world, I'm here and I'm not backing down." Fast forward to 2017 and Dolph was still on fire. He started the year with a bang by releasing the Gelato mixtape. It had that gold certified gem Play With Yo. But that wasn't enough for Dolph. Just a few months later, he dropped his second album, Bulletproof. This album's standout track, 100 Shots, pointed to a crazy incident where over 100 bullets hit his car. This track became his second gold certified hit, and guess what? The album Bulletproof didn't mess around either. It climbed to number 36 on the Billboard 200, showing that Dolph was leveling up even more from his debut album. The hustle was real, and Dolph wasn't slowing down for anyone. In 2017, Dolph took his team to new heights by signing Memphis rapper Key Glock, who also happens to be Dolph's cousin through marriage. Key Glock dropped his debut mixtape, Glock Season, that same year, and then teamed up with Dolph on the gold certified hit Major in 2018. The next year, they unleashed their joint mixtape, Dumb and Dumber. It soared to number 8 on the Billboard 200 chart, and the duo even released a sequel earlier in 2021. This included the track Aspen, produced by Bandplay. Key Glock proved himself as a rising star in his own right, not just as Dolph's protege, with his second album, Yellow Tape 2 Inches, snagging the number 7 spot on the Billboard 200. These moves solidified Key Glock as Memphis's next big thing, and Paper Route Empire as a heavyweight in the independent hip-hop scene. Despite his boss status, Young Dolph was all about giving back. Dolph was an active force in his family's nonprofit, the Ida Mae Family Foundation. His mission to spread love and empower others is well documented. From giving out Thanksgiving turkeys in Memphis to talking to kids in schools and donating to his old high school, Dolph made a real impact in his hometown. And his generosity didn't stop there. There were 2 baristas who got fired for playing Dolph's tunes at work. In 2018, he surprised them with $20,000. Plus, in 2020, a lucky fan got a Lamborghini Aventador from Dolph in promotion of his 5th studio album, Rich Slave. These stories show that Dolph was not only a leader, but also a symbol of hope for his community. In 2020, Dolph made major waves again with his 5th studio album, Rich Slave. It didn't just debut, it stormed in at number 4 on the Billboard 200, selling a whopping 65,000 album units in its first week. Released almost 2 years after his previous solo project, Rich Slave brought a lineup of singles, with the Megan Thee Stallion-assisted hit R&B leading the chart. This track hit the top of the US Bubbling Under Hot 100 singles chart and snagged Dolph another gold plaque. Rich Slave stands as Dolph's biggest commercial success, perfectly wrapping up his journey from the streets of Memphis to becoming a true superstar and respected entrepreneur. Kindly click the links appearing on your screen for more videos like this.